welcome.
No way.
Hi. Thank you for coming out to the show. This is Garp, one of a kind, one in a million, one of the best, I guess. Speaking of guests.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of
What?
that office episode where Andy splits his scrotes, and she's
That's
like, "What
exactly what
else
I was
you
going
got?"
for. That's exactly what I was going for.
Speaking of minds in sync, my bestie's back. Brooke, say what's up. Say where you been. Say how you doing.
Hi, it's me. I'm back. Took a slight sabbatical. Had to move.
Yep.
Cross state lines.
Yep.
And now I'm happy and back. Hello.
Well, at least
I've
now
missed
you're
ya.
happy. Finally. Truly a wonder to have you back. Thank you so much for coming, and hope to see you soon. Today, we're at Gorp. Are you aware of that?
Oh, is that what this is?
Gorp!
Okay.
That's the show! Gorp stands
What?
for Galliano, Uzo, Rumchata, and Parafante. What are those, you think? What do you think those are? Those are liqueurs. All things that get added to a cocktail. Rarely drank solo. Maybe the ouzo. I'm not sure if you're Greek. Ouzo is quite commonly consumed after a meal. It's what's it called? Anise-based liqueur. It's licorice,
Ooh.
black licorice. It's a very powerful palate cleanser. Much like Brooker, I'm sure you're aware of. We used to live in Italy. The grappa. It's something you would drink to clear it all out, right?
God, it'll clear y'all out. That's
It'll
for sure.
clear you out good.
Ugh.
So today, all these liqueur talks and such, we're talking about booze. We're talking about cocktails, most specifically, but definitely drinking in general. Our receptacle today is a wonderful little taster glass, a baby Belgian glass from my brewery, the Fat Toad Brewery in Pryor, Oklahoma. It's a 4-ounce glass that is full of topics. All these topics here, you hear that sound? ASMR style. This is quotes. They're all famous quotes about alcohol in general. We're going to try to ballpark it towards cocktails because I have a history of cocktailing. Brooke has a current lifestyle of cocktailing. You want to talk about that real quick before we get started?
Yeah, sure. So I just started a job at the Royal Palms in Dixon, Illinois. It is a fabulous dive bar. It is the diviest of the diviest, but like updated and modern a little. I have never bartended specifically before, but I love it. I love it so much. It's a problem. No, it's not.
It is a problem. It's very addictive. It's wonderful. The highs and the lows, the energy it requires. It's really powerful, and a lot of people don't really understand. Would you agree?
I think also like the fact that I'm able to just kind of live a slow life right now is very good for me.
Yes.
I've held a ton of different jobs before, but this is like the first time I've had a job that allows me to still live slow and kind of soft.
Yes.
Instead of beating my drum to some corporation or something.
Some 9-to-5 bullshit. Do you feel like, okay, let me ask you this, because I felt this way. Do you feel like being a cocktail server or a bartender, etc., all this, do you feel like it's very adjacent to being a superhero?
Yeah, I can see it for sure. A little bit.
You wear a costume at night. You're up all night. You still do stuff during the day.
there is like an alternate persona, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like I do get to like just be chill, me, and then when I go downtown, like I get to put on the person that like I want to present a little bit.
Your character. Which
Yeah.
is not necessarily bullshit. I talked about this recently because I'm not a cocktail. I work in a brewery, so we just serve the beer that we make, and it's wonderful. And oh my god, our beer is so good. For instance, we have an Oktoberfest beer available at the Fat Toad Brewery here at Pryor. But more importantly, we were talking about the fact that in front of a customer, we have a different persona. However, it's not necessarily false, right? Would you agree with that? Like I'm very genuine when I speak to anyone.
Yeah.
I might
No,
take
I'm
on a
still
different
me, but I
yeah,
think I'm like kind of the best version of me for the most part.
or a good version at least,
Yeah.
right?
A higher energy.
Higher energy. Yep.
I guess.
Like you maybe just took a big fat rail of coke in a good way,
Yeah.
right?
But like in a good way.
Anyway, let's get started with the let's get started with the first little it's going to be a quote from someone famous. If you can guess the famous, you get $10. No one's going to pay that money. All right, here we go. Here's a good one. You're not going to guess it. Life's too short to drink bad wine. You want to take a guess? He's a guy who would wear something like I'm wearing right now.
Ooh.
Miami Vice.
Let me think just real quick. Miami Vice. I don't know. Is
Don
he Italian?
Johnson.
No, that was my second guess.
Yeah, an Italian or Don. So my thought when writing this down was, life is too short to drink bad wine. This is not necessarily about wine. It's about how you feel about drinking cheap stuff, how you feel about drinking the really good stuff. What are your thoughts on this?
Ooh. I think you have to kind of drink for the occasion.
Okay.
And because, like, if you're a social drinker, like, I like to go out and socialize and have a beer every once in a while. And if I'm doing that, like, I need something that I can sip on a little bit and not get too drunk too quickly. So I need something low alcohol level and pretty cheap because I just chug through it.
Sure.
So I drink a lot of Busch Light. A lot of
Busch? That's your choice? You're so northern. You're way above the Mason Dixon.
I know.
Living in Dixon. Wow, that's heavy. Busch?
I know.
But it's okay, because you spent a lot of time drinking Keystone with me and the guys in the militaries and the Bud Lights and whatever. So at least you got your pick in your later years, I guess.
I used to do PBR. I used to do Bud Light or something easy, but I if I drink liquor, like I'm drinking way too quickly. I don't.
Gotcha. Okay, so what about when you are doing you tonight's a liquor night? It's a cocktail night, perhaps. Let's talk about that. What's your go-to? Perhaps, maybe.
I guess my go-to would be like a Tito's and
Tito's?
like lemonade or something.
Oh, a little Tom Colley.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. I like a Tom Collins. What I always suggest for someone up. No, dog wouldn't. No one come up. What I always suggest for a Tom Collins or someone really simple with just like a mixer and a liquor, whether it's tequila and Sprite or whatever it is, add bitters. How do you feel about that?
I think that'd be good.
Bitters always helps.
Yeah. I could get down with that.
At your dive bar, it's not a dive. It's almost a dive, but in the most fantastic way. I'm a dive bar guy, by the way. I'm not sure if anyone knows this. I had a band for a while, and we were the dive bar superstars. So big ups to dive bars. How do you feel about bitters in general? as a new-ish, cocktail-ish, waitress-ish?
I only use them normally in old fashions.
Nope. Every drink needs bitters. Period. But it helps to have different types of bitters. That's how you really like flesh yourself out as someone who's explored, But that's, this me being pretentious. So ignore me. But there's walnuts, there's apples, there's oranges, there's rhubarb. Anyway, next topic.
Nice.
Shaken, not stirred.
Not stirred. Oh.
So what's your feelings on this is directly appealing to cocktails. Now you've been learning cocktails. Is this your first time as a cocktail?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that. And the rules you've learned, etc.
Could you be more specific?
Okay, so specifically shaken, not stirred. One of the things I learned is if there is citrus, you shake. Period. Oh. That's how it goes.
It's not that serious where I work. It's not that serious.
Oh.
If people want to request specific things, I'll make it. But like, I'm not learning how to make a martini or anything.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, but like, I'm making them. I would have to like buy the drink or have somebody buy it so that I could learn how to make it.
Yeah.
So I'm just not doing that. I guess I should do that.
Well, it's not. None of this is a requirement, right? So it's so much geographical and class based, right? So when I became a really good bartender, I was in Portland where people spent money for good cocktails and they paid $30 for a cocktail. And even I, at that moment, felt like I was a mid-grade bartender, right? So there's like higher grades than that. It's stupid. It's like,
oh, definitely. No, we have really good bartenders on staff. Like, there's a girl named Tilly, and
Tilly's the best.
Yeah, on Mondays. On Mondays, she has like a cocktail Monday, and she'll make a special cocktail and price it out and make it for special that night. She has been in the bartending service for a long time, so like she's way more practiced. Yeah. But if you're going to see me and you ask me for a drink, if you don't know the ingredients and I can't look it up, like it's probably not going to happen. I don't know.
Oh, dang. But that's understandable. Like, you can't ask someone for a drink. I worked at a very high-class steak place one time. And the chef, after hours, came to the bar while I'm doing my chef thing, closing up, polishing and stuff. And the chef, after having verbally abused me the whole night, because it's a fancy place and chefs are allowed to do that at a fancy place. He comes to the bar very friendly and asked me for a Depression era Manhattan just to see how cool I am.
What does that even mean?
Pretentious piece of crap. Well, turns out back then they didn't have fruit around, right? That makes sense. You didn't just have oranges about. So you had orange bitters. And you had different bitters were invented in lieu of fruit easily available. That makes sense, right? Bitters were invented a long time before liqueur. And so instead of for a Manhattan, or I'm sorry, it was an old fashioned. Instead of for an old fashioned having an orange peel, you would have orange bitters and other things. So he was like,
I understand that then.
Yeah. Right. That it kind of makes sense. But the fact that he was ordering a specific timeline of cocktails, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. Just shut up, dude.
Yeah.
Here's the bottom line. With cocktails, with tastings, with all these things, with alcohol, with anything that humans regard as cool, you're going to find some assholes with pretentious opinions and gatekeeping throughout at different levels. Right?
I agree.
I agree. And this particular chef guy, he was really doing that because he was so anxious to tell me the story of why he's ordering this beverage. Cool, dude. It's the equivalent of two heterosexual males, one of them metaphorically asking the other one to suck his penis. Right? Does that make sense?
I guess.
I guess too. Maybe I made that up.
It's just, if you wanted to talk, just say something. Don't be a jerk.
Yeah. Right? By the way, did you hear about the depression? Anyway.
No.
Next up.
I've just been living with it for my whole life.
I've been had the depression, baby. Okay. Always coming back when a buzz I lack, whether it's Jack, Jerry, Jose, Jaeger, vodka, or yak. As in cognac, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess this is just a basic love of liquor in general, not liqueur, liquor. So I guess maybe we're in the verge of how much we love our particular flavor of liquor. The man who wrote this rap lyric was talking about how he loves his particular variety, which might be wide in the spectrum. Some folks hate a tequila. Some folks hate a gin. What's your style of liquor? Base on the cocktail or whatever, shots, whatever.
Mm-hmm. So, like, what's your preference per?
Yeah, and what's your no-no?
Liquor type? I think I could tell you off the bat, no Jaeger. Ever. No.
Yeah, definitely. That's for the old times. That's for 19-year-old Josh.
Yeah. But
that's a liqueur anyway.
I think I prefer, like, Tito's if I'm going to drink vodka.
Sure.
I would drink something higher, but I won't drink anything lower than that. I'm too old to be doing that.
Sure. So you're a vodka chick in general?
Yeah, I would prefer vodka over rum or tequila. I do like whiskey and bourbon. I guess I would even drink, like, Jim Beam. That's fine.
Jim Beam is a solid liquor. I don't care what anyone says. It's lowbrow, but, like, it's one of the oldest recipes of bourbon, period.
I used to drink a lot of different whiskeys, but I don't really drink. I'll drink Crown every once in a while, which isn't even like whiskey to me. It's kind of like the lowest.
Truly.
I guess. But
yeah, truly. That's interesting because it's Canadian, first of all, and they don't know how to make a whiskey. America has very specific rules on what is a bourbon and what is a rye. Rye is my favorite, by the way.
What would be an example of that?
Bullet. Bullet has a bourbon and a rye.
Okay, lots of people like Bullet. I don't
Bullet
mind it.
Is great.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So, if you're not certain, a proper bourbon is from the Kentucky area. The water has to come from the river wherein Kentucky draws their bourbon. That's the rule. Canada, they don't care about those rules and they don't have to adhere to them. So a rye in America has a certain percentage of rye that's required for it to be called a rye whiskey. On the levee, they were drinking whiskey and rye, and this will be the day that I die. And Canada says, who cares? We have some rye in it, and we have a fabrication of rye also, so it's called a rye. The same reason Canadian whiskey, like Crown Royal, doesn't taste like actual whiskey. However, Crown Royal in particular has a special place in my heart because I am from Bossier City, Louisiana, that's how we say it. And you walk in the grocery store, and the first thing you see is Crown Royal in a stack, 7 feet high. Because you're allowed to sell liquor in the grocery store for some reason.
You're allowed to do that.
I
here
was
too.
raised
It's
with purple
cool.
bags around me, right? Like
Yeah.
all around me for my whole childhood. Purple bags. Steve Martin said this.
Oh,
You know who he is?
Dad. And for those who don't know, Steve
He's
Martin
dead.
is the dad from Cheaper by the Dozen.
Yes, he's dead. Writer's block is a fancy term made up by whiners so they can have an excuse to drink. What do you say to that, Jack?
If I had to say anything, it would be that I have writer's block.
Oh, yeah. I've dealt with that too. I'm a creative person. A pretentious friend of mine would say I'm a creative. I draw stuff, and writers also write stuff. So we're creative people. Blah blah blah. Every human's creative. It's like, shut up. But anyway, the block is what happens when you can't make progress in your creative endeavor, or you can't come up with a good creative endeavor to start with, right?
Yeah.
And just like a Hemingway or a Picasso or any general artist or artisanal type, you're gonna drink because that's a cool outlet. You have any experiences there, or because I do?
As a person that likes to dabble in, like, I really love to write and journal. I can say that I do sometimes drink when I'm like sad to really get into the sad.
Hell yeah. Dig into it? Yeah.
Because there's so much of a muse there, you know? It brings more sad out.
Sure. Okay. So you allow yourself to dig in deeper with it. Yeah, I'm with you. I have spent a lot of time. It was once pouring into the shot glass and taking the shot and staring at the drawing board or the canvas, etc. And then it became just pulling straight from the bottle. And then I took pride in just pulling straight from the bottle. So I would just like pull a double shot from the bottle, etc. And then it became like, oh no, I don't draw anymore on a regular basis. I just drink, right? So I don't know. Yeah. It's one of those things where we think drinking helps us, but really it doesn't.
That it's okay sometimes if you're in. I'm not validating anybody for binge drinking or anything like that, but sometimes it's okay if that's all you're doing to survive. If you're still surviving and you're still moving forward.
Truly.
But if you've been like in this stage for a little bit and you know that it's been time to get out of it, that's when it's no longer okay. Like that's when, all right, let's put our pants on and go to work.
Absolutely. When you can't find a direct practice, right? So in my older years, like less than a year ago, younger years, I don't know. In younger times, I would freestyle rap a lot, right? Yeah. And I wouldn't ever do that unless I had at least a beer and a couple shots. And then it became a beer and a few more shots, etc. And that's how you unlock the potential to get past the nerves. But when it becomes a regular, that's a problem, right? Of course.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think understanding how to access that space is cool, but also it's available when you're sober.
Right.
It's there.
Yeah, so I've dealt with that.
The only person that's stopping you is you.
Right. I've definitely dealt with that, like how to tap. That's what it really comes down to in any creative endeavor, like how to tap into it. And there is not ever only one way. There's movies and cartoons about it, like only when I do this can I do this. That's not how it really works.
No.
Doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. Like, I have been smoking smoking cigarettes most of my adult life, and I just recently quit. I'm about almost 2 months free of nicotine, and thank you, but it has absolutely no effect on my conversational skills, on my anxiety levels, on my creative input or output. Nothing whatsoever. If anything else, it has increased my creative output because I'm anxious, because normally I would be smoking. So when I say to my inner monologue, normally I would be smoking right now, let's just throw some green on that canvas. Anyway, next, we got this one, which is work is the curse of the drinking class. Very famous quote by Oscar Wilde. Great playwright, etc. Now, I like this quote because me and you both have and are in the profession of the working class, who are commonly known for having a few after the hours, right? Or before, or during, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think that there is absolutely 100% truth to that statement. Like, work. I forget what that quote was.
It's a curse of drinking is a no, I'm sorry, working is the curse of the drinking class. So it's a clever like comedic thing. But really it comes down to like a certain level of working or labor, etc., that requires drinking, right? So I've been in serving, hospitality, etc., customer service since I was 17, and almost all my jobs required that we have to unwind a little bit, right? And that requires us having a couple and lamenting about the fact that most of the humans we dealt with today were probably the worst. What do you say?
I think that so many people just don't know how to unwind. Like, they just stay because they hate their job, and then they go and they drink and they get mad at those people that they're drinking with or whatever. Then they hate their kids some more, and then they hate their job some more, and then they're just pissed off all the rest of their life.
Yeah.
How ugly is that?
It's ugly, dude. I've seen that ruin stuff. How many times did you go to the Okay, so we were both in the service together. I'm not sure if anyone knows that, but we were both in the service for a couple years together, at least in the same spot. And I have seen in our time together marriages totally ruined. Not to get dark or anything, but like we've all gone to the enlisted military bar and seen this guy just sitting there drinking, and his wife just comes out of nowhere, or vice versa. And like, what are you doing here? Our baby is hungry. Like, holy crap, you're not doing well. But then at the same time, you also have like the same crew who's always been coming out. Like, this is how we unwind. We're laughing. We're like, expressing ourselves. We're out till 2 a.m, but tomorrow we're gonna be fine because we all rallied together, etc. So there's good and bad, of course, right? Hopefully that scooped us out of the doldrums of the darkness, but maybe not.
I think it did for me. I don't know what I would have done without the people like that went to the E Club.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, truly. Like, people can look at it darkly, like, oh, we drank, or we would always go to the bar every couple nights or whatever and figure it out. But like,
yeah, but you can look
that's
at
where
it on
we
the flip
met
side
up.
of the flip side. You and I, our friendship would never have. Maybe it would have in different ways, but it would never be what it is right now if it hadn't been for the bartender. Basically,
For true, dude.
as terrible as it can be, I'm not saying that there's not health risks by drinking too much or drinking at all.
Of course.
But the camaraderie that comes along with social beverages is irreplaceable in my eyes.
Truly.
I have loved so many people because of going after work for a beer.
You know what? That's so undersung. And maybe it needs to be undersung because only a few people really get it. But when you have a spot and you've been at a spot and you've had a few at your spot that's established, and someone comes along and your vibrations are good, that can mean the rest of your life loving that person.
Yeah.
And that's not the same as meeting up for a board game. It's not the same as going to book club. It's not the same. It's not the same. You meet people, you vibe with people, you find people that you would never in your life be interested in speaking to.
Yeah.
But you catch eye contact with someone in that establishment, and that's all it takes sometimes.
Yep.
Or you talk shit to someone, or they talk shit to you, and there's comeback, and then boom, dunzo.
Besties.
I remember one time, literally, I called you such a bitch. And then I loved you for the rest of my life. So
yeah, I was probably being such a bitch too.
All right, next up. All right, here's one that's okay. Maybe you can guess this one, but it's another quote. Beer is proof that God loves us and wants us to be happy.
What's
ideas?
that, like Toby Keith or something?
That's Ben Franklin, but same thing.
I knew that. Actually, that's a sign at Serena's bar, Drifters. I should have known that.
So this one's let's just call this one specifically about beer. What do you think about that?
What do I think about it? I like
about beer.
Oh.
About how God made beer. Well, humans made beer, but
so suddenly beer existed.
Suddenly I was awake.
So beer, I enjoy beer, and I think that it's a great, like we were kind of just talking about, a great tool of camaraderie. Think about all the people that have like made immense memories at Oktoberfest.
Truly, I think beer is one of the greatest things humans have ever made. Probably the best thing humans ever made. Maybe I'm wrong here because I was indoctrinated by some documentaries, but I believe beer is the reason we have forks. Alcohol was the reason we have a civilization.
Do you think that the first like recipes came from alcohol?
Absolutely,
or
I do.
Specifically beer. Like, do you think that we made beer before bread?
I think we made wine first, honestly. Not wine as we know it, but like fruit that ferments. Let's figure out how to make it work right. And then, okay, cool, that works. But we also figured out bread and barley and all these things. And then we figured out how that ferments wrong. And then, oh, we get drunk off of that. Let's make that work. And then we figured out boiling it makes this and that. And so I think just general fermented liqueur type stuff happened first and then beer. All this is just my stupid opinion. There's probably someone who's smart that will tell you the actual timeline, but I think alcohol is the reason we have a civilization, and marijuana wasn't discovered much long after.
Yeah, I would say so as well. I think that quote is pointing at the only reason people go to work is so that they can afford to drink.
Truly. Like before we had civilization, there was no farming. It was just let's walk over here and see if there's food.
Yeah.
And then we figured out how to make food at home. And then civilization happened. We created jobs and we created money and blah, 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 blah. But, like, it wasn't bread that made that happen.
I need more information.
I need more information. Here's some more information. Part 2's coming up soon. This has been Gorp. Brooke, thank you so much for coming back. It's been so long. On that note, I have noticed you are, I think, our longest standing member aside from me and Fry. So congratulations on that. And that's why we've missed you so much. I didn't realize you've been around a long time, dude.
Yeah, I don't know when I did the first episode.
Well, I know that you were already, like, in the game before Halloween, because you were in the Halloween game last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost a full year, if that.
Ooh.
What's your costume this year, by the way?
I don't know yet.
Me neither.
I would take to suggestions, though.
Okay, you be a butt, and I'll be a disease.
A
Both
match
bad
made
ideas.
in heaven.
All right, I think we're due for a part 2. We have so many more quotes. We have so much more to talk about with the booze. But it's been a good time. This is the outro song that I just invented. Okay, I'll cut that out. No way.